Longhorn Nation, Sooner fans, welcome to episode 149 of the Bevo Podcast, the only podcast exclusively dedicated to covering the greatest rivalry in college football, the University of Oklahoma and the University of Texas. I'm here with my man, Kevin Miller. I am John Whitson. Kevin, when a middle-aged man like myself decides he wants to start a podcast about the greatest rivalry in college football, he does so with the anticipation that he's going to talk about greatness. He's going to get to talk about heroics and, dare I say, Sooner magic. He's going to get to talk about the great players that are taking the mantle from the former great players. He's going to talk about the great coaches that are taking the mantle from the former great coaches. He's going to talk about clashes of titans. Sure, you expect some bumps along the way, but at the University of Oklahoma, Kevin, specifically, you expect greatness. You expect to be on the top of the mountain. Maybe you get knocked down, but you get back up. For 3 years, Kevin, through the entirety of the Brent Venables experience, outside of the 2023 Red River rivalry, it has been a journey paved in disappointment, disgust, embarrassment, abject disillusionment with the sport of college football and the University of Oklahoma. Kevin, I stand before you today saying the University of Oklahoma has hit its lowest point in the history of its program. A great blue blood like the University of Oklahoma is down and out, and I don't know if they can recover. Kevin, I am at a loss. I am bereaved. I don't even know how to talk to my kids about what I saw last night. I shouldn't have to talk about that with my children, Kevin. As a parent, I know I have to, but I shouldn't have to. What Sooner Nation and SEC country witnessed last night was a failure of coaches, a failure of players, a failure of abject proportions that have not heretofore existed in the lexicon of the history of the football at the University of Oklahoma. Kevin, I am loath to talk about the rest of this game today. I had to get back from Dallas, down there for a little bit of soccer. The 3-hour drive back, it was soul searching, Kevin. Soul searching for me. Did I even want to do the podcast? Did I even want to appear on the podcast today? I was just going to let you have it. But you know what? Sooner Nation needs this, Kevin. Sooner Nation needs somebody that will speak the truth to power, and somebody that will bring in the ideas and pour forth the solutions. I am that man. I don't know where we go from here, Kevin. I have no idea. I have no idea where we go from here. But I am here today to face the ugly and the bitterness and the disgust head on, Kevin. Head freaking on. I am not running, okay? However, I am cowering. I am cowering, and I'm not sure I'm going to recover. There you go.
All right, man. All right, well, it's good to see you're doing well.
Listen, let's talk about the game, Kevin. Let's jump. Thank you. I don't know how many texts I got from my wife and daughter last night asking me if I was doing okay. You know, they're in Oklahoma City or in Norman. I'm down in Dallas. They're texting me, are you okay? Are you doing all right? Yeah, I'm doing okay. I took 9 Benadryls to fall asleep last night, Kevin. 9 Benadryls.
Okay,
And I
well,
still,
I mean,
the nightmares. They
9
just
Benadryls. Were you trying to make it your last allergy attack?
maybe. I don't know. I don't want to go
Because
that far. I don't want to.
I
I don't
mean,
want to diminish what
it's a
real
lot.
illness is, but it's close. It's close. Okay, listen. Okay, look. I don't know if you can see this.
I can't.
Where we're going.
No, I
Okay,
see
this
it.
is just the list. Okay, that's just a quick bullet point list. Typically, when I do these games, I do the prep. I have like 2 or 3 things I want to talk about. There's like you can literally boil some games down to 2 or 3 things. Your Texas game, you can boil it down to like one thing. Quinn Ewers had a hell of a game, and you ran the ball really well, and Florida's terrible. There's your 3 things, right? And we can talk about those. That's what we do. I got like 39 things, and they're all
All
important.
right. Where do you want to start?
Some would say this is a bright spot. Some would say the topic I'm about to bring up and this particular player I'm about to bring up is a bright spot.
Okay,
And
I know where you're going with this.
And somebody that should be highlighted, right? And somebody that we should put a silver lining around this bow.
He should.
All
He should.
it does is piss me off. It pisses me off that we haven't seen this dude all year. Kevin, I have been begging to run the ball all year. We finally have a running back, Xavier Robinson from Carl Albert. All he does is get 9 touches and runs for 56 yards and 6.2 yards a carry and carries the team in the fourth quarter on that drive to score what was ultimately a touchdown in the throwback pass. If this guy has been sitting on the bench all year, DeMarco Murray should be fired today. Today.
I mean,
He shouldn't have made the plane ride home.
John.
Did you see what I saw, Kevin? Am I out of my damn mind? A little bit.
Not
but
exactly.
I think I am.
Well, you are out of your mind, but in this case, you're not. That was the most competent your running game has all season on those 2 drives. I mean, he had good vision. He had good patience. He had power. He was breaking tackles. It was everything you want in a running back.
Every carry made me more pissed off.
Yeah.
I'm not joking. I'm not joking.
0 lost yardage.
Kevin, 6.2 yards a carry.
But you know what I'm saying? You know how with most running backs you have a lot of 6 or 7 yards, but you also have that minus 3 yard run. No lost yardage at all. Everything was going forward.
The problem is they're going to tell us, the coaches, the genius coaches are going to tell us the sample set is too small. I don't care. I know what I saw. I saw a guy running through tackles, hitting the hole hard, not having any sort of hesitation. He just was playing football. And it was like, oh my God.
And it's interesting because watching him as a recruit, I wasn't sure, based on his size, athletic profile, I wasn't sure if he wasn't going to play linebacker for you guys. So I was kind of surprised when he was, playing running back in the offseason. And, man, he looked so natural back there for you guys in his limited opportunities. Again, that didn't have – Javonte Barnes is already out with injury. Taylor Tatum looks like he's going to be the guy. Wasn't very effective. Did he get hurt? Is that why Robinson was in there? Or was he just in there?
No. If you remember, at the end of that drive is when Taylor Tatum came in and threw the touchdown.
Yeah. That's interesting. I don't know what made him bring him in, but wow.
At one point, Kevin, in the fourth quarter, Xavier Robinson is in and doing well. And they wait till 16 seconds on the play clock to sub Taylor Tatum in for Xavier Robinson. And it costs them a 5-yard delay of game penalty based on how the substitutions worked. And I was at a hotel in a conference room with 2 soccer dads. It was all I had. Normally, I don't watch the games with other people, right? You don't ever hear me say, hey, Kevin, you want to come over and watch the game?
Same way.
I almost went through this hotel television. It was insane. Okay, we'll start there. That's food for thought, Kevin. We're 9 minutes in. It's food for thought. Okay. How about turnovers? How about turnovers, Kevin? How about holding on to the damn ball? My God in heaven. Here's the problem with Jackson Arnold. It's not just that he turns it over. It's when he turns it
He has
over.
the most inopportune turnovers I've ever seen.
I thought that I had seen the worst turnover in the history of Oklahoma against Tennessee on the 5-yard line after we strip sacked Nico Imalavea. I thought that was the worst turnover. Nope. We trumped that. We saw the worst turnover in the history of Oklahoma football last night in the fourth quarter with a minute left when he's running out of the pocket with the ball at his waist in terrible position. All he's got to do is dump it over to Xavier Robinson or throw it out of bounds. It was terrible.
You know, it's so interesting.
It was terrible.
It was beyond terrible. And it's funny because leading up to that, you know, I'm watching it with my wife and my brother-in-law is over too. So watching
you fan, right?
after,
you fan, right?
Of course.
You fan.
Absolutely.
Yep.
He is.
Yep. God bless him. Praying for your family today, sir. Go ahead.
As you guys get the ball back after they tied the game, I'm like, okay, you know, you can play with some aggression, but you don't need to be over-aggressive here because going to overtime is fine. You were down, was it 16-9 in the fourth quarter? So the fact that you're here is still a good thing. Overtime is not the end of the world. You just can't turn it over. And I don't know, kid just lost his mind just to have the ball there and just such an unnatural position. I don't know what he was trying to do, but I just don't understand why he would ever have the ball down that low while rolling away from the pocket. That's not a natural throwing platform or anything. And like you said, just the worst possible turnover at the worst possible time, man. This team just keeps finding new ways to lose games. And I've seen it before as a Texas fan, but go ahead.
So then he had the turnover in the first quarter. Then Bowen, which we've had trouble returning punts all year. They haven't really cost us too bad, but this one cost us. Punt ended up in a touchdown. Either a touchdown or a field goal. Doesn't matter. 17 points off. And then Deion Burks had a fumble across the middle. So you finally get a playmaker back, and he fumbles the ball. And then there were two other fumbles that that we jumped on. Okay, that's turnovers. Let's talk a little bit Jackson Arnold, though, a little more in depth. Okay, Kev, just a little bit. At halftime, our punter, who threw one fake pass, albeit a really great play, which we'll talk about.
Yeah, nice design there.
Completes a 43-yard pass on a fake punt. He has more passing yards than our quarterback does at halftime.
Inexcusable.
Our punter on a fake punt has more pass yards than our 5-star starting quarterback does. Winner of a Manning camp. Did he win the Manning camp?
Yes.
Or Elite 11 or whatever?
And he was the National Gatorade Player of the Year.
And he had 43 yards or less at halftime. Ending the game, as you can see on the screen, 15 of 24, 74 yards, one receiving touchdown, and a QBR of 26. Okay. Did you ever get a chance to watch the beginning of the Ole Miss Georgia game?
Yes.
Did you see Austin Simmons come in relief of Jackson Dart for that one drive?
Yes, and looked incredibly confident and competent.
Kevin, it made me so mad to think that we're talking about Jackson Arnold being a 5-star and Michael Hawkins being a borderline 4-star, 5-star. And then they roll out Austin Simmons. Guy looks like a Greek Adonis with a left-handed Michael Penix or some other great lefty you've ever seen. Just standing tall in the pocket against Georgia. Going 5 for 6, 74 yards, and leading them to a touchdown in which Ole Miss never looked back from. I could not believe what I was watching. Then I juxtapose it to Oklahoma, and I want to cry in my Cheerios because we don't have that. So I don't know what talent evaluation is occurring, or if we're just reading some kind of board, or maybe Jackson Arnold was really good, and we've done him an immeasurable disservice by not having a quarterback's coach for the last 2 years. anything's possible. I don't know. But it's bad. What I saw in one drive of Ole Miss, I haven't seen all year from the University of Oklahoma. I'm not talking about their starter, who's playing great. I'm talking about their backup true freshman against Georgia.
Came in and would just look so prepared. You would have thought he was a starter. I mean, this didn't miss a beat.
The ball was on time. The ball had velocity. The ball was thrown into tight windows. He's making the right read. Forget about it. Whatever. Okay. Kevin, where do you want to go next? I'm still going.
Let's talk about the game plan offensively.
Okay. Here's how I described it last night. Every 4 plays that Seth Luttrell called, one might have been the right play call. The other 3 were awful. Okay? I kind of think Joe John Finley is good for 3 out of 4 plays being pretty good and 1 being completely awful. Largely, the play calls he makes to his own position group tend to be the worst ones. Who in the world, I'm trying so hard not to cuss, who in the world does a jet sweep to Bauer Sharp? In what universe and what film have you been watching that says jet sweep to Bauer Sharp is the right play call? It is maddening. Maddening. I've never seen anything like it. Then you talk about using Bauer Sharp. First of all, we never went downfield. We never took advantage of having our new receivers back. Can we not protect? Okay, we can't protect. Whatever. It was bad. Bauer Sharp, Kevin, had 5 catches for 43 yards. Okay? 43 of those yards came on the aforementioned fake punt from Luke Elzinga. That means his other 4 catches went for 0 yards.
Yeah, it's just I don't understand it, man. He's a pretty talented athlete, but it just hasn't worked, man, at all.
He's fine. Kevin, he's fine. Whatever. I don't even know. Let's talk about the fake punt. You got some stats up there. We'll come back to the stats. Just leave them up there, though. Let's talk about this fake punt. Brilliant. Kevin, it was brilliant.
Yeah, really good scouting there to notice some tendencies of them kind of leaving that open, bringing the rusher there, and leaving that middle of the field open. And great execution by the punter, almost like a jump pass.
I loved it. I've never seen a jump pass before out of that. I was really worried about linemen downfield. That didn't happen. They all maintained.
Well executed on all around.
Discipline. Bauer Sharp makes a good catch, good run after catch. Kevin? The coaching staff had so little expectation that was going to work that on the next play, they get a delay of game because they can't get the play call sent in. So you got first and goal at the 10. That within 25 seconds or 40 seconds is turned into 1st and 15, goal to go.
What happened the next play?
The next play is followed up with a quarterback sack, because why would we run the damn ball at that point? And now we're in 2nd and 19, goal to go. And we've completely eliminated any chance of scoring a touchdown. Like these aren't Kyler Murray's where we can deal with some of these losses and still get touchdowns. It is not going to happen. You have to play disciplined football. And I just can't get over the fact that our coaching staff, call timeout. Do something.
Correct. Do something. You got to take a timeout there. Yes, that was too valuable.
It's too valuable.
And you risk the trick play and you execute it flawlessly. You get 1st and goal, and you can't kick a field goal there. You have to get a touchdown. Especially in a game where you can already tell it wasn't going to be a lot of offense there from both sides. Every point mattered tremendously. The 4th quarter, we'll get to that. And that whatever happened between both these teams in the 4th quarter. But at that moment, you had to get 7 there.
Okay. You talk about the 4th quarter. Defense kind of let us down a little bit, I think. Just a little bit. They've been battling all night. Obviously, not a ton of points. It's hard to say it was their fault, but we're going to get there. They let the OE score that one touchdown. They go up 10-9. I honest to God thought the game was over at 10-9. Right? I'm thinking this 1-point lead might be insurmountable.
I was thinking the same thing. I don't see where the points are going to come from the way that game was going.
I mean, even at the end of the second quarter, at the end of this first half, I mean, I don't know how they gave us that one extra second. Like the time had run off the clock. That was a gift. That field goal at the end of the first half was a gift.
I thought it was 1 second. Watching it live, I thought it was 1 second left.
Fine. And also, it was 57 yards. All credit to Schmidt. Schmidt and Elzinga had a hell of a game again. I mean, those two. Schmidt, 57 yards. Trust me, I've seen plenty of missed field goals in Missouri over the years. So that's great. Okay, we're in the fourth quarter. We allowed them to score again. And then I'm thinking to myself, why aren't they going for two? Because if they go for two, they make it a two-possession game. It is over. Like, not only is it over probably anyway, it is over. And then they got the penalty, and then they missed the point after. That blows my mind. At that point,
them missing that. I mean, yeah, what a gift, right? For them to blow that extra point.
I'm thinking to myself, well, holy crap, maybe we have a chance. Okay, then it becomes the Xavier Robinson show. We just punt, chunk yards. We call a quarterback throwback with Tatum throwing it back, which he got super lucky on that pass. Whatever. Jackson Arnold, nice cut to the end zone, score the touchdown, tie the game. You're thinking, well, God, maybe we have a chance. I don't know. There's some OU fans that are disappointed that that's what it took for us to score. At this point in the game.
Yeah, and at this point in the season, you take whatever you can get.
100%.
Yeah.
I don't care how we get a score.
No.
So at least we're trying to win the game. Okay? Coach's credit here. You're trying to win the game. We score. At that point, hell, I'm like, go for two because I don't know, whatever. Anyway, then the defense mans up. Okay? The defense mans up, causes a fumble. Mr. Opportunity himself, Billy Bowman, turns for a touchdown. Okay.
It felt like the Auburn game.
It felt a lot like the Auburn game. So a couple thoughts on this. This is a very important salient point here, and I apologize to all the Texas fans. We'll get to Texas. It's fine. It's a long show. We'll put it in the notes where Texas is at if you want to listen. Okay. You cruise, by the way. No surprise. You beat Florida. Okay. Kevin, let's just play a little bit of what if. I think there was like 3 minutes to go in the game. Do you have the time frame there of the last?
Are you talking about when Billy Bowman scored?
When did Billy Bowman score? How much time was on the clock?
2 minutes left.
When Bowman scored, there were 2 minutes left?
Correct.
Okay. It would have been better if Billy Bowman runs out of bounds at the 2-yard line.
Okay. That's interesting.
And then, because it's likely that we'll fumble it, we then kneel it 3 times. Make them use their timeouts. And kick a field goal and leave them 30 seconds to go in the game.
Okay. No, that actually makes sense in theory. That makes sense. I get that.
Now, in any other world that isn't the 2024 version of Oklahoma, I'm saying go score the touchdown. But in this world, I'm saying we can F this up, as evidenced by the succeeding drive. Kevin, they get the ball back, 2 minutes to go. Listen, the offense has been maligned all year for good reason. We're terrible. Okay? We're terrible. 6 fumbles, whatever. We're horrible. But his defense, Brent Venable's defense, has a chance to end the game.
Yeah.
With a backup quarterback named Drew Pine, who on the night, how many total yards? Did I miss this? What was his total yardage?
Who?
Drew Pine.
Oh, Drew Pine. Let's see. He was 14 to 27 for 143 with 3 touchdowns.
143.
Yeah.
So on the night, up till that point, I think he had sub 100 yards passing.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay. And he's a backup. And they only got 2 guys they throw to. One's named Burn and one named Steele Weiss. And a Brent Venables defense lets them go down and score in 1 minute.
So quickly. They went straight down the field.
A hellacious defensive holding call on Woody Washington. The only comeback I have to that is, why the hell is Woody Washington in there anyway?
Correct. And the thing about it is, what I couldn't believe is how conservative. There was no blitzing. You're rushing 4. You did get the 1 sack with R. Mason Thomas, but I thought for sure, I said, they're going to bring everybody up to the line, make him guess who's throwing or who's blitzing, and just completely throw this kid off. They're about to run the most exotic blitzes we've seen all season. And it was like, nope, we're going to rush 4 and drop 7. And yeah, and they just went right through that zone defense like it was nothing. Like it wasn't even there. It was crazy. I mean, you give up this slant to Weiss on that first play. He breaks it for a big one. And then the deep pass to Burden on the wheel
Great
route,
catch.
which I think
Great catch.
great catch. And I think Jacoby Johnson actually saw it.
But fell down.
Was headed that way, but he stumbled down, and he makes a great catch, and it sets him up there, and then great throw and great catch by Theo Weiss in the back of the end zone.
Peyton Bowen's there, but the size difference.
Correct.
Just
Eli. It was Eli.
I'm sorry. Eli. Yeah. I mean, he was there.
5'9" to 6'2", man. Not much you can do. Not much you can do there. And
You're brought in as the defensive coordinator for those moments, as a defensive genius for those moments. The season is on the line. Not the season, but your pride is on the line.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, that's it. That's it. And they go right to you in a minute. Okay. Now we're in a minute left. It's tied. And to your point, I don't think overtime is the worst thing in the world.
No. Just 2 minutes earlier, you're down.
You were down.
Yeah.
So, now, do I want to see him run it 3 straight times? I guess not. Maybe that's hindsight. But not a lot of good things happen when Jackson Arnold's trying to throw the ball. Like, let's just face it. Not a lot of good things happen when Jackson Arnold tries to throw the ball. So, some might say it's hindsight.
Chart's right here in the middle on that drive.
Incomplete, right?
Incomplete pass to Burks, but it's a flag, pass interference on them.
Oh, that's right.
First down. Yeah. Then you run it with Robinson for 5 yards. So it's 2nd and 5. And yeah, this is when the play happens.
Yeah. It's madness. And worst fumble I've ever seen. And I'm just saying, if you just go ahead and run the ball, you get to overtime. And I think you might, well, you have just as good a chance to beat Missouri as you had at any point in the game, right?
Correct.
I mean,
correct.
Your defense is supposed to be really good. Let's go ahead and hold your field goal kickers making field goals. Let's just go see what happens in overtime.
And you have established a running game.
Oh,
You've established a running game that probably, or at least had a chance to be successful in the red zone. Basically, anything could have happened except that. That's the only thing that couldn't have happened there. And for that ball to come out, and of course, it falls back like that. It just shoots right back out into the field of play. It doesn't go out of bounds. I mean, it's just right there. And of course, there's an edge guy who's being chased by a 300-pound guard. There's no way he wasn't going to score there.
No, he was going to score. Okay, Kevin, what was the win probability chart? You said you noticed this last night when you were doing your research.
Let me show you this. I'm going to put this up here. Give me 1 second.
While you're doing that, Kevin, the only other real thoughts I have on this game Oh, there's the win probability. Oh man, jeez. What
Okay,
was
so
it?
you see it's going up and down, right? But as we get into the fourth quarter, this is even after you guys tie the game at 16-16, Missouri still has an 81% chance, right?
Wow.
Then it goes down to 58, back up to 66, and then the fumble happens. And it goes all the way up to 81.4 for OU. And this is with 2 minutes left, right after the touchdown by Billy Bowman. And then the first down play, 88%. And then here on 2nd and 16, and it's the incomplete pass, a minute and 24 seconds is 95.4%.
Oh, I
Yeah.
didn't see this. I haven't seen this. I didn't see this today.
Then even after the kickoff, after they tie the game, you still have the 81.4%.
Yeah, because you just need a field goal at that point.
Correct. You just need a field goal. And then after the run, it's a 50-50 because you could go, I think, it's probably thinking overtime at this point.
Yeah.
There's only 30 seconds left in the fourth quarter. Anything can happen. And then the very next play is that after the fumble. Honestly, one of the most bizarre fourth quarters I've seen in a long time.
Oh, it was
if
crazy
we look at
bizarre.
we look at this here. The score is 10-9 going into the fourth, and it's 34 points in the fourth quarter.
Well, yeah, but when you have 3 turnovers, 2 turnovers, what's the number? 2 turnovers for scores.
Yeah.
I'm talking about in the fourth quarter. 2 turnovers for scores.
Yeah. Just a wild game, wild ending. Just
So
one of those games. Just for you guys to lose that one is, I mean, I don't want to say it's shocking that it happened, but not shocking just given how this season has gone.
it's a nut punch. It's a nut punch. Couple things. Let's talk about these 2 things, and then we'll talk about Texas. First things first. Players that could be playing at the University of Oklahoma this year. This game highlighted that. We saw Theo Weiss. I always liked Weiss. I talked about Weiss coming into the no ill will against Weiss. I don't care what he said to the fans. They just won. He can say whatever he wants.
I was surprised he did that, though.
Whatever.
I'm not disappointed. I'm just saying I was surprised. I didn't think there was bad blood like that. It seemed like it was based on his.
I think kid gets fired up. Whatever.
Yeah.
That's I didn't like it. But to see Theo Weiss, see Caden Green, it's frustrating. And then you think about the national landscape. Okay, Dylan Gabriel sets the record for most touchdown passes in FBS history yesterday. And then you think about what Tawi's doing at Wisconsin. And you say to yourself, my God, you could have Dylan Gabriel, Tawi, Theo Weiss, and Caden Green on this roster right now. And not only could you have them, you had them.
Yeah.
You had them on this roster. Now look, individually, and this is what people don't understand about life and business. It's very important. We run a small business. You can explain away any single client, in our case, player in this case, their reason for leaving. Okay? You can convince yourself it's not me, it's them. It doesn't matter. I'm telling you from experience, you can say, oh, well, this client left us because they're this, they're that, or they had this, they had that. And there's all the reasons why it's not your fault. Same thing with players. Dylan Gabriel, yeah, he wanted to move closer to the West Coast. He wanted to do this. He wanted to be closer to his family. He knew that Jackson Arnold was ready. Whatever. Kevin, when it's 4 players, that's a systemic problem. That's a systemic problem.
Correct. 4 starters, especially.
4 starters.
Yeah.
Okay.
Three off of last year's team, right? Theo Weiss has been gone for a while, but 3 starters off of last year's team.
3 starters off. You're right. And I should say that 3 starters off of last year's team. But you look at Theo Weiss and you think to yourself, did we do everything? Like, Did we do everything?
Yeah.
And what I'm saying is when you're in business, you have to take a hard look at the mirror and go, okay, we just lost 3 clients. Yes, I can explain each of them individually away, but there's something wrong with our processes. There's something wrong with our systems that are causing people to consider leaving us. Now, for those of you who know, Brown O'Haver's our customer. This happened 12 years ago when you have to have a deep look in the mirror. We fixed all that. So if you've been impacted by your tornado, that's not what I'm talking about now. This isn't like yesterday. I want to be very clear. I'm just saying you have to look at, you have to take responsibility. And you got to say, what are we doing wrong? And I don't hear responsibility taken, Kevin. When I see DeMarco Murray finally play Xavier Robinson, and he, for lack of a better word, compared to anything else we've seen this year, goes off. I don't know if 9 for 56 is going off, but it feels like it.
It just
he goes off
than it has looked all year on that one drive.
And you also consider the fact that Tawi's gone. It's like, DeMarco, you're not doing your job, bro. You're not doing your job. Okay, there's that. So that's systemic. That leads me into my last question. Then we'll talk about Texas. Is should Brent Venables keep his job at the end of this year?
That's a great question, man. That's a great question. Can this be fixed? I mean, the way it looks, I keep seeing the same things happen every week for you guys. It's the same thing I told you earlier in the season. I mean, I've told you this since last season, but I'm seeing the parallels between OU under Venables that I saw with Texas under Charlie Strong. And teams that just keep losing games the same way. The same things keep happening. Making these crazy mistakes. Just like you're inventing new ways to lose football games, and it almost is comical.
Oh, you have to laugh. You have to laugh or you cry.
Yeah,
correct. The options that I had going in this podcast was either doing my tongue-in-cheek, the world is falling speech, or crying like Kirk Herbstreit on game day yesterday. Those are my only 2 options.
Yeah.
So I went tongue-in-cheek.
At least he lost someone he loves.
Listen, dude, did you see that video? Or did you see it live? Man. Maybe you saw it live. I don't know.
I didn't see it live, but I saw it yesterday. Man.
Listen, I have not been a fan of Ben in the past. It was a little much for me the way he was paraded around on social media. But the pain that man felt on air, that was real.
We've all lost pets before. And it sucked.
That got me. Oh, my God. All right.
You can relate, even if it's not your dog. Oh, we've all lost pets. It sucks.
100%. 100%. My favorite cat. God, Prissy, rest in peace. Here's the problem. It's the same schedule next year. Same schedule next year. Alabama's not going anywhere. Ole Miss isn't going anywhere.
No.
South Carolina's only getting better. Tennessee's not going anywhere. We don't know what to make of LSU, but they ain't going anywhere.
No, they're still going to have elite athletes.
As far as the Boomer Bevo podcast is concerned, Texas isn't going anywhere. Oh, and by the way, you add Michigan next year. Okay? So you couldn't beat Kansas and Oklahoma State in the Big 12 with the all-time leading passer in touchdowns. Okay? Right? I don't think I'm wrong.
No. Speaking facts here.
And now we're going to go into year 4 with a harder schedule. We add Michigan. With a harder schedule. With a quarterback that went 15 for 24 for 74 yards against Missouri. I don't want to hear crap about Missouri being any good. Missouri is not a good football team.
No, Missouri is a very average football team.
So Kevin, I guess I lead up all of that to say, if I'm going out on a limb, it needs to be seriously, seriously considered if he's the next football coach at the University of Oklahoma next year. Because what have we seen through 3 years that tells me he can get it done in the SEC? Outside of a really, really good defense, that when push came to shove, we let Drew Pine go 75 yards in a minute to beat us.
And that's the problem, right? Like you can't have Jackson Arnold against Drew Pine and Drew Pine be the better quarterback on the field. That cannot happen.
Dude, Miguel Pino was the better quarterback on the field.
How? It's not like, I mean, Missouri, they've got some okay guys out there on defense, but it's not like you're playing Georgia or Alabama, those kind of guys. And they had some kind of crazy game plan where they're sending exotic blitzes and disguising coverages. It wasn't there. And again, we talked about this, but you get Deion Burks back. Where were the easy passes for him? Where was the swing pass, bubble screen to get him in space?
Dude, we haven't ran a screen pass all year. Our running backs wouldn't know what to do with a screen pass.
And it just makes me wonder, like, you get a guy like that. One of the biggest gets in the transfer portal was Deion Burks. And just the way he's being used. I don't know if you got to see, no, I know you didn't get to see Texas play yesterday, but I know you watched some of it, right? Some highlights. Did you see the way Texas used Isaiah Bond yesterday? Yeah,
it makes me want to puke. We've talked about it all year.
I mean, end around, swing passes, get him in space.
We ran a jet sweep with Bauer Sharp.
Yeah, you're tight end. Get the ball in his hands in space and let him go to work. Where was the slot fade yesterday?
Dude, Kevin, you texted it to me 2 plays in. You said, John, are you paying attention to the way Missouri's covering? This should be a field day for the slot fade to Burks. Listen, I love you. You're one of my best friends. And I think you're a football genius. But you're not an offensive coordinator at the University of Oklahoma or Texas. But my God, if you can see it, what are we doing?
I mean,
what are we doing?
You can throw deep. The protection. I know Arnold got sacked 3 times, but it's not like we've seen worse. Where it wasn't like the Tennessee game, where he drops back and he's getting harassed instantly. There was time, and I don't know the route concepts. Nothing down the field. No. I don't get it, man.
All right, Texas, University of Texas rolls 49-17. I think. Now, I did not see the game, but statistically, it looks pretty good. I think Quinn might have had his best game of his career, okay? 19 of 27, 333 yards, 5 touchdowns. Kevin, Quinn hadn't put up 5 touchdowns ever. He looked really, really good, dude.
Well, I'm talking about this.
I think you had a 100-yard rusher with Jared Gibson.
Yeah. And I've talked about Quinn this year, how good he looked in the first few games of the season. And how the injury, ever since he came back from the injury, he has not looked good. And I thought he hasn't been healthy. And we had the bye week last week, gave him another chance to get healthy, and he looked like the Quinn before the injury. He was great. He looked confident in the pocket, standing in there. The arm strength was there. He was really stepping into his throws and really getting more velocity on the ball, getting it down the field, getting it to the playmakers, letting them go to work. It wasn't just the swing passes, the near or behind the line of scrimmage stuff. They were getting it downfield. He was very accurate. It was a great performance. He looked like the guy, like I said, who was a legit Heisman candidate early in the season. So I was really, really happy to see that, especially going forward. We got some tough ones coming up to the end of the season.
I've said it all year. I think you're the benefit of a really fortuitous schedule. I think things would have been different with Lagway. I don't think that's going out on a limb.
Not at all.
The Aiden Warner kid, 12 25, 132, 2 interceptions, not good. They did rush the ball pretty good against you guys, which is weird,
they have
right?
A great running game. No, because I don't know if you remember in our preview, they ran it on Georgia.
Yeah, and you think if you'd have had Lagway, you probably get even more of that rush game, right? You're not counting on a transfer from Yale with a torn ACL recovery.
They've got a good running game.
Jacoby Jackson with 19 for 116 and a touchdown. Their second guy ran for 88 on 19 carries. And what's even crazier is you're playing from behind the whole time, right? So that shouldn't necessarily be what you see. I didn't even list the receivers because they didn't catch nothing, but they got a good running game. I think if they have Lagway, it's a little bit different. But Kevin, we talked about Florida having a pretty decent defense. Dude, Sark and Quinn, listen, dude, carved them up. In addition to how do you use your talent? Oh, I don't know. Let's spread touchdowns around to 4 different receivers. 5 touchdowns to 4 different receivers. Golden, Wisner, Bond, Helm. Golden with 2. Jake Blue's your leading receiver with 3 catches for 67 yards. It just, he puts Quinn in position to make very easy completions, get a really good rhythm. Now, against Georgia, this did not exist. So I'm not going to say it happens all the time. But when it does happen, it looks really good. The Michigan game and now this game against Florida, it's like, man, it's just easy, Kevin. Easy.
Yeah, Sark was really in his bag with the creativity yesterday. I mean, they're running reverses where, it's a fake reverse to one way to the left. Then they fake the inside handoff underneath and then pitch it to Isaiah Bond going the other way. So you got Florida defenders in circle. The RPO game was really on. Gunnar Helm wide open. So yeah, just scheming the guys open.
But this is
getting our guys in one-on-one advantageous matchups.
But this is what's frustrating, okay? You think Quinn's arm talent is elite. I've questioned that since day one. And I'm still not convinced. And I'm sitting here saying he played his best game. I'm still not convinced. But what Sark doesn't require the greatest arm talent or elite arm talent, right?
Yeah, it's a great scheme. Yeah,
what you just described, the pass to Bond, how many air yards did that pass even cover in the one you described? 10?
I mean, that first one was a handoff. It was a reverse, and then the pass he took, it's maybe 8 or 10 yards down the field. Just isolate them and
just isolate him.
We had the RPO to Gunnar Helm. There's nobody within 5 yards of him. It's just scheming.
It's scheming, and that's where Oklahoma fan looks at Texas. And listen, is your offensive line healthy? And yes. Do you have receivers and targets to throw to? Yes. But it's the scheme that really drives us nuts, right? It's what when Sark is toying with a defense like he did yesterday against Florida, when he toyed with Michigan. He didn't toy with Georgia. We know that. We saw that.
No, not at all. Not at
all.
And
I don't even know y'all beat down Oklahoma, but I don't even know if he toyed with Oklahoma because I thought Quinn was a little rough.
Yeah, and Quinn, and like I said, I don't think he's been healthy since he came back from that injury. That was his first game back. Game. He hasn't looked right. This is the first game he actually looked right, just from a mechanical standpoint, just from the way he looks in the pocket.
Kentucky
looked different yesterday.
Kentucky or Arkansas next week?
Arkansas, Fayetteville, 11 a.m. Saturday.
I think it's good for Texas. It's 11 a.m.
Oh, I've been saying that all season. I've been telling you that since before the season. As soon as they announced that, we don't want to be with Arkansas fan.
I don't remember you saying that. That doesn't sound. I feel like this is original thought by me. I feel like the scales have fallen from my eyes right now that I've recognized how bad Oklahoma is. Everything makes sense to me, including an 11 a.m. kickoff in Fayetteville for Texas. And I just don't see a scenario where y'all don't do.
I thought the game plan today was a nice prep for next week because we saw what Ole Miss was able to do with them.
Yes.
And to be in a rhythm now with a downfield passing game is really going to help us next week going to Fayetteville because no one hates Texas more than Arkansas fan. And that's including OU fan, that's including A&M fan. So it'll be hostile despite the 11 a.m. kickoff. But you'd rather deal with those guys at 11 than at 7 when they've been getting all liquored up all day. So
I don't see a scenario where Oklahoma wins another game. I don't look at your schedule and see a scenario until the playoff where y'all lose another game. I'm sorry. I don't. People are trying to tell me that A&M has a chance to knock you guys off. I don't see it. I don't trust A&M for anything. Okay, I just don't. The only 2 really good teams they played, Notre Dame and South Carolina, they lost to. Okay, I don't trust A&M. Did A&M beat LSU?
They did beat LSU.
Okay, and what have we seen from LSU? Diddly do.
Correct. And we could talk about, I know we'll get to them when we recap the other games, but why they lost that game. basically what they did against LSU is they ran the quarterback, and that's exactly what Alabama did. They watched that tape and they just used the exact same game plan. LSU cannot stop quarterback run game at all, and that's what we saw. So, I mean, we don't have that. We don't have the quarterback running game, but like you said, it's going to be a tough game because it's going to be a historic atmosphere in College Station. But Texas at its best is better than A&M at its best.
Do you have an early line? Do you have an early line on the Texas Arkansas game?
No, I don't. But go ahead and keep talking. I'll look it up.
No, I think that I know it was Florida, but you can see what you're talking about in terms of Quinn's timing. Okay. So even if he wasn't injured, okay, I tend to agree with you that he probably still was. But even if he wasn't injured, coming back from the injury affected the timing. And Sark's offense is all about timing and rhythm and getting that first down and then seeing what happens out of that. And I got to tell you, in your next 3 games, if the timing is there, I mean, look, dude, Texas has a chance at the SEC championship. It's just that now that Georgia's gone down.
Well, everything that we needed to happened yesterday, because right now we needed LSU and Georgia to lose, and both of those happened yesterday. So yeah, it was a great day for the University of Texas.
Look, if you look at it right now, if you look at the standings, is it Texas and Tennessee at the top?
Let me pull it up real quick. 16 and a half.
I can pull that up. I'll pull that up for you. I can pull that
up. No, I've got it. 16 and a half points is a spread right now for Texas and Arkansas.
That's about right. I think that's about right.
Yeah, me too.
That's a spread. I can't believe A&M's only 5-1. They're still 5-1 in conference.
The South Carolina game was their first conference loss. They had the bye this week, so and let's see who they have coming up. Okay, well, they've got another bye. They played New Mexico State this week, and then they go to Auburn next week, and then of course they close the regular season against Texas.
They only have Auburn and Texas left in the SEC?
Correct.
Yeah. I don't think they're very good. I think it's going to be if I had to call it right now, I think it's an easy Texas-Tennessee matchup.
And this is pretty crazy if you look at these standings here up on the screen. There's still so much football left to be played, right? Tennessee plays Georgia next week.
Oh, do they really? Wow.
Yeah. Texas.
But Josh Heupel watched the game film from yesterday, though, right?
Oh, I'm sure he did. Yeah. I'm sure he did.
He saw Lane dived him up. They did. And then offensively.
That was a very impressive performance on both sides of the ball from Ole Miss. I was very impressed.
Texas is in the driver's seat. Based on the schedule, Texas is in the driver's seat. And I don't think that's an overstatement. I hate that I'm even saying it. I do not see a loss in the regular season. Yes, the A&M game will be tough. Arkansas is not going to be a tough game, Kevin. I know that you're being cautiously optimistic, but
yeah, I am.
They're not going to be tough, dude. Arkansas sucks. Arkansas sucks.
Yeah, they're not very good. We got to get out to a good start. Bury them early, just like with Michigan. If it's similar to the Michigan game, where we get out, and get off to a good start.
They might have more offense in Michigan, but their defense is terrible.
They do. Bobby Petrino, yeah. So hopefully we can get off to it quickly. And I believe in our defense.
Oklahoma is the worst team in the SEC.
You think you're worse than Mississippi State?
I bet Mississippi State's favored if we would play them.
You think so?
Listen,
I really like their quarterback, though. I like Michael Van Buren a lot. Their record sucks, but
we're part of a conversation that I think is legitimate to have, that we might be the worst team in the SEC. That's all I'm saying. Maybe we're not the worst team, but we're not very good.
And you just didn't expect to be here. I picked you guys to go 8-4 to start the year, and yeah, I think it's been. I think what do you think? 10-2.
Yeah, and sure, that was optimistic, but let's just take it to 8-4. Let's just take it to 8-4. I'm a homer. A surprise in the Boomer Bevo Podcast. I'm a homer.
Oh yeah, that's why I'm not bashing you here, because I'm not. It's you.
Well, let's just put it at 8-4. That means you needed to beat Auburn, South Carolina, Missouri.
Yeah.
And
Ole Miss.
Ole Miss or LSU.
Yeah.
And guess what? Ole Miss looked unbeatable against Georgia yesterday, and we were in that game.
You were.
But we found ways to lose. We made 0 second half adjustments. They made every second half adjustment, and we lost the game. Okay, whatever. Kevin, let's talk about the week that was. Real quick shout outs. We're going a little long, but we got to shout out Brown O'Haver. There was tornado damage a week ago. Call Brown O'Haver, 405-735-5510. If you were impacted by the recent storms, they are public insurance adjusters. They will get you paid. They work for you, not the insurance company. Brown O'Haver, 405-735-5510. Kevin, roof damage?
Yeah, give our friends at Pioneer Roofing a call. Then go out and give you a free inspection, let you know if you need a roof replacement, help you out with the claims process. 405-549-2712.
Week 11. Again, dude, outside of Oklahoma, and even the Oklahoma game, if you're a neutral fan, was crazy in the fourth quarter.
Yeah, just a great game to watch as a neutral fan. If I was an OU fan, though, I would just be so stressed watching that.
I'm going to go through some of these quickly because there's 3 of them that I really want to talk about, okay? And we're running a little late, but that's okay. I don't want to rush anything, but I'm just telling you, 3 of these we really, really want to talk about. Okay. Oregon, Maryland, they beat them 39-18. Dylan Gabriel breaks the all-time FBS touchdown pass leader. I do not think he's an elite quarterback, but he's a very, very, very good college quarterback. And we miss him more and more every game at Oklahoma. Again, individually, we can explain why he left. Systemically, did we do everything to keep him? I'm not sure. Ohio State, Purdue, 45-0.
Purdue's horrible.
Ole Miss, Georgia. We picked this game. You had Ole Miss. I had Georgia. You were right. I was wrong. Jackson Dart, 13 of 22, 199 yards and a touchdown, 8 carries for 50 yards. Almost as impressively was the one drive where Austin Simmons comes in and goes 5 for 6, 64 yards, 10.7 yards a carry. He's a true freshman out of Miami. I look at him and I lament the 5 stars that we've signed in the last 2 years because this guy looks like the real deal. Carson Beck, underwhelming. 20 of 31 for 186 and an interception. But even more appalling is Georgia's rush offense. 33 carries for 59 yards. Ole Miss is at the 85 Bears. What the hell's going on, Kevin? How can Georgia not rush the ball?
I know, but that Ole Miss pass rush, though, man. I mean, they got after Carson Beck. I mean, you guys felt it. They got after Jackson Arnold.
Is that why the rushing yards were so down? Was it sack yards?
So. Georgia hasn't been great running the football all year. This loss has been brewing for Georgia. They were great against Texas.
I agree with that. I agree with that.
And they just seem to not have a lot of enthusiasm a lot of times, right? They just don't really seem up for it. They were certainly up for it when they came to Austin. But even against Florida, they just were a little flat. So it was brewing. You could feel this coming. We'll see where they go from here. But a great win for Ole Miss. And like I said, it was their defense. They're better on defense than they are on offense, I think. Which is really
They are better on defense than they are on offense.
Which is crazy to think about with a Lane Kiffin coach team.
Here's the
Texas
problem.
The same way.
Florida was talking about Lane Kiffin coming to Florida. He ain't coming to Florida when he's got that freshman on his. I mean, I guess he could bring him in the transfer portal.
He could bring him.
But he's not. I mean, he's got it as close to rolling as Ole Miss has ever been. I don't think Lane leaves. I think if Lane is smart, which,
he's his own guy, that's for sure.
If Lane is smart, he realizes, my God, I am the king of the castle in Oxford. I can do whatever lame things I want to do. I can throw out an 8-4 season or a 7-5 season, and people are going to stick with me because I'm Lane Kiffin.
Yeah.
You go to Florida, he goes somewhere else. All bets are off.
Yeah, I mean, remember, Florida announced that they're keeping Billy Napier next season.
I know. Maybe that's the right move. I don't know. They've had a lot of injuries too.
Would y'all try to bring him in?
What's that?
Would y'all try to bring him in?
Lane Kiffin?
Yeah.
I'd take him in a heartbeat.
Who else would you take? If you had a short list, John Whitson short list of potential OU coaches, if
I don't think
something were to happen with BV. Shane Beamer?
I don't think that's a bad choice at this point, seeing what he's doing in South Carolina.
Yeah.
The Indiana coach would be at the top of my list, Carl Spagnetti. All he's doing is winning. And I watched that Indiana team. I love the offense. I like their defense. I like everything
really
about
tough,
Indiana right now.
That was a tough
We're
game.
Gonna know.
Michigan's tough, physical team.
We're going to know when they play Ohio State, which I think is this week or next. There might be a bye week.
It's coming. I think it's a bye, but next week, yeah.
So we're going to know. I mean, that'll tell us. But there's nothing that indicates to me that Indiana's a fluke right now. They look really, really good. I like what Signetti's doing. Obviously did it James Madison. Can you do it at Oklahoma? I don't know, but it ain't getting done now.
It's interesting. The way his career is going, you would think he was younger. He's 63. That's so interesting to have an up-and-coming coach like that at that age.
Okay, now, honestly, if I could have any coach, okay, if I could have any coach that is coaching right now, do you think you could guess who that would be? Any coach in the country that's coaching right now.
No, who would it be?
Dan Lanning.
Yeah.
I just like what the guy's about.
Yeah, no, that's a great one. Now,
I like Dan
Lanning. I don't know
Lanning.
how true this is, but like that the AD was interested in Lanning, but there was some pressure to go after BV. I don't know if you've heard that.
From what? Who? From Stoops?
Yes.
Listen, hiring Brent Venables was on paper a very good hire.
It's understandable. I'm not. But man, Dan Lanning, whoa.
Dude, he brought 2 national championships to Clemson, completely revitalized their defense. Put numerous guys in the NFL. Did nothing that Lanning didn't do either.
Correct.
Okay? It didn't. Nothing that Lanning did. How many titles did Georgia win with Lanning? 2? At defensive coordinator?
So. Yeah, he was there.
Okay. Well, there you go. And you weren't sure that it was Lanning and not Kirby Smart, right? Kirby Smart's defensive coach. So, but I'm saying now, hindsight 2020, and looking at the landscape, he's not leaving Oregon. I wouldn't leave Oregon money. I'm saying I would want Dan Lanning over any other coach in the country.
Yeah, it would be an outstanding hire.
And even though he's a defensive-led coach, a lot of people are saying, "Oh, you need an offensive look at Sark and look at Kalen."
He runs a high-powered offense there.
Sorry, I should have muted that before I swallowed. Okay. I don't even know how we got off on that.
We just finished Georgia and Ole Miss talking about that.
Georgia Tech, Miami. Cam Ward, 25 for 39, 398 yards, 3 touchdowns. Fumble lost to lose to Georgia Tech. Does this loss knock him out of the Heisman Trophy race? Number 2, what does this mean for Miami and the ACC? I think they're still in. I think they're still obviously the odds on.
Same. Yeah, I think he's still in the Heisman race just because there's been nobody else that's really separated other than Ashton Jeanty, and he's a running back for Boise State. So I think he's still in the Heisman race, and I think Miami's still in the playoff. It's a rough loss. I'm going to give you credit because you saw this coming. You said that this was one that you had circled, that Miami could lose. And it's not surprising when you really think about it. They've been kind of teetering on
playing with
for a
fire.
while.
They played with fire all season long.
You know how this goes, man. These road games, middle of the season, late into the season, these things happen. So, but thankfully, 12-team playoff, Miami's still in it. They're gonna have to be flawless the rest of the year, which they could do. So they're still in the mix.
Yeah, I guess they have to be flawless. But they're fine. They're okay. Don't panic.
They're okay.
Don't panic. Penn State beats Washington 35-6. Tennessee over Mississippi State 33-14. the aforementioned Indiana. The score is only 20-15, but you watched the first half of that game and you never saw any scenario in which Michigan was going to win that game.
They came, they did fall back. I watched the fourth quarter, just not enough offense.
Not
It's
enough
just
offense.
the same with Michigan. Defense has been fine, just not enough offense. Similar to
OU. We picked BYU, Utah. We both lost because BYU did not cover the 3 or 4, whatever it was. But they do win in dramatic fashion, 22-21. The Utah athletic director, in his press conference, claims the game was stolen by Big 12 officials. He says the defensive holding penalty on fourth down was egregious. He says, I was so excited for Utah to be a part of the Big 12. I'm questioning that decision.
OU. Have you ever seen an AD have a press conference after a game? Ever?
I maybe Castiglione after the Oregon game, if we're going to talk about specifically officiating. After the 05 Oregon game. Maybe then. Or 06 Oregon game. Maybe then.
I don't remember that.
Maybe then. But not a conference game, not against your arch rival. Listen, my brother-in-law, Joe Young, is in hog heaven. There is nothing better than beating your arch rival. There's nothing better for Oklahoma than to beat Texas. Or even Oklahoma State back in the day. And then to add on the griping and moaning and the officials, and I blame them, and they suck, and they're
I know. I actually thought about him last night when this game ended. I know that dude is going nuts right now. He has to be so excited.
And just the sense of happiness when that's the kind of game it happens against. Not against UCF or Texas Tech, even
Colorado, even
Utah. Oh.
Yeah, they were so mad. I mean, it was an improbable comeback when they're down 21-10 at halftime, and even in the fourth quarter. So, yeah, for them. But I understand why Utah fans are upset because it was, they're in their own inside their own 5-yard line, and you get a sack on the quarterback, ends up being a holding call.
It's a bad call.
Even after that, they still have to drive down the field and get in the field goal range.
It was a bad call, but there's bad calls throughout. Like, the game was stolen. Stop it. I don't need to hear that.
No.
The game isn't stolen when the team is deep in their own end zone, right? And they get a gift that moves them to the 20. Okay? The game isn't stolen. Stop. Anyway, there you go. Congratulations, BYU. You stay well positioned in the Big 12. Notre Dame destroys Florida State 52-3.
1-9 for Florida State, by the way.
1-9. Alabama beats LSU 42-13. I was spot on. I was wrong on Ole Miss, Georgia. I was spot on this. I said Kalen DeBoer's offense was going to figure it out against LSU's defense, and they did. Jalen Milroe looked like the Jalen Milroe that we wanted to see. 12 of 18 for 109 yards passing, but rushing, 12 carries, 185 yards, 4 rushing touchdowns. Bama runs for 311 yards rushing. Look, I don't know who Bama is. I don't think beating LSU gives us any clearer picture to Bama, but I think it validates that LSU is not the real deal.
Yeah, completely agree. And again, we saw this, we kind of alluded to this earlier, but in the A&M game, A&M won that football game because they just ran Marcel Reed against LSU's defense. Alabama did this from the jump, and like stopping Jalen Milroe at all.
Okay, look, we've got. I don't think Oklahoma can beat LSU. That's not what I'm saying. But can we at least make it a ball game by running Jackson Arnold and or Michael Hawkins? Are we capable of at least exploiting that weakness at all? Or
yes.
You really think so?
Yeah, I think so. They are so inept at it. It will take some creativity from the offensive staff, which who knows what's going to happen there, because we haven't seen a lot of that this year. But you have Arnold's a good athlete. Hawkins is a dynamic athlete out there. So, yes, the quarterback run game can absolutely be a factor because they've shown no ability to stop it all season.
Boise State beats Nevada. Ashton Genty, 34 carries, 209 yards, 3 touchdowns. I think he can win the Heisman.
I think he can too.
I think he can win the Heisman. I think Dylan Gabriel's giving him a run. I think Ward's giving him a run. I think even Shadur, and we'll talk about Shadur, can give him a run. But he's putting up numbers that we haven't ever seen. People don't like Shadur. And for whatever reason, Ward is, And then Dylan Gabriel, I think they just think that's a career achievement award, the touchdown record. So I just think Genty, if he keeps putting up 200 yards rushing, it's going to be a hard dude to beat come New York.
I agree. I mean, the kind of numbers he's putting up are just type of numbers you just don't see very often anymore from running back. So, hey, I wish him luck.
Kentucky beats Iowa State. Iowa State completely falls out of playoff consideration. What did I say?
Kentucky.
Sorry, I saw KU. You're right. Kansas completely beats Iowa State. Beats Iowa State. Iowa State completely falls off the playoff picture. Nice seeing you. Iowa State was a nice story. Virginia beats Pittsburgh. Same story. Colorado at Texas Tech. First of all, I thought Texas Tech had a chance. They started off really strong. Shadur Sanders came on and looked legit. But the story was the environment at Lubbock was exactly what we said it would be, Kevin. Exactly what we said it would be. I'm surprised it wasn't worse.
Completely agree. We know what they're about. We've all experienced it. And but yeah, I just continue to be impressed with Colorado, with how they play. This tough place to play, tough environment. They were down early, and the way they handled it, they're down 13-0 after the first quarter.
Yeah.
And then once we got into the second half, they just completely dominated the game, outscoring Tech 31-14 in the second half. And Shadur Sanders was great. Go ahead.
30 for 43, 291 yards, 3 touchdowns. I mean, I can't. You can't complain about that. I don't care.
I'd take him over anybody. I think he's so good. And then Travis Hunter, what he does on both sides of the ball, the best player in college football. I stand by that. I've said it all year. He's been the best player, and I think he is. I would vote for him for the Heisman. I just think he's just that dude. We just haven't seen anybody be this good on both sides ever in college football. So, yeah, man, their path is set.
Can Shadur back into the number 1 overall pick in the NFL in March or April?
Absolutely. He absolutely can be the number 1 pick in the draft. There's not a quarterback I'd take over him.
Cam Ward? Nope.
No. Now, Cam Ward does. He's dynamic, but he'll do those things that can lose you the game, too.
Yeah. Okay. Well,
you only see that stuff from Shadur if they're chasing the game. If
Colorado and BYU don't play. Colorado and BYU don't play each other, do they? What's Colorado's remaining schedule?
Let me pull it up. With Cam Ward, he plays every game.
Utah, Kansas, and Oklahoma State.
He plays every play like it's a 4th down, like it's 4th and 12.
They play Utah, Kansas, and Oklahoma State.
Yeah.
All winnable games. Kansas is having a little resurgence, but they're still not very good. All winnable games. I mean, I think BYU, Colorado is. You said this at the beginning. You said this summer that the Big 12 could be a really fun league to watch. Those are the 2 best teams. That's who I'd want to see in the Big 12 championship game. I don't want to see anybody else. I don't want to see K-State. I don't want to see anybody else. Give me the 2 newcomers. I'm okay.
It'd be great. Yeah, it'd be a lot of fun.
Washington State beats Utah State 49-28. I guess they're in the top 25. Maybe they weren't in the college football playoff, but maybe they.
No, they're ranked number 21. So 8-1, 5-0 at home. So
that'd be a great schedule. Clemson beats Virginia Tech 24-14. Army beats North Texas 14-3. Kevin, our picks. You were wrong about Bama. I was right. You were right about Ole Miss. I was wrong. We were both wrong about BYU covering. Oklahoma was a loss. Screw you, Oklahoma. And Texas was a win. We are 28-28, Kevin. 500 through week 11. That's not.
No, I don't.
I've had worse. I've had worse years. This does not feel like Oklahoma at 500 because there wasn't like a week against Maine or Temple. We had to go hard all. This is like 500 with an SEC schedule. You know what I mean?
Putting in work.
Hey, it's an hour and 14 in. I don't know. Are you keeping track of the Dallas Cowboys? Would you like an update?
No. Sure.
Okay. Let me tell you what has happened. When we started, it was halftime and the score was 14-6. Okay. It is now 34-6, Philadelphia.
Yeah, I'm not a surprise. Not a good football team, man. It's not. You can see it from really before the season. I talked about the roster. I just didn't like the makeup of it. And
Uh,
yeah.
Bright spots for the Cowboys. DeMarion Overshown.
Oh yeah, he's been good. Yeah, it's just nice to see him out there after he missed all last season with the knee injury. So yeah, nice to see him out there. But
They had Parsons back. He was making some stuff
yeah,
happen in the first half, but
he forced a turnover, strip sack on Jalen Hurts, but it's just not enough, man.
Diggs
Cooper
has a
Rush,
turnover in the
backup quarterback.
Diggs has a turnover in the end zone. Still not enough. I can keep going. Still not enough.
Yeah, Zeke Elliott fumbling though. They had it in the red zone, chance to take the lead, and Zeke fumbled.
Why are you still
Time to,
playing Zeke? Just cut it. What are we doing?
yeah, I don't know, man. From a personnel standpoint, yeah, just the composition of this roster, it's just not very good at all.
Well, and then you throw on that stupid trade they made for what Ryan Williams from the Panthers for. I mean, come on, what are we doing?
Yeah,
Like
this.
I talked to a soccer dad. You know, I love the soccer dads. He had a big soccer weekend. We went 1-1. It's all right. It's okay. My daughter played pretty good. Never mind. You know, yes, we lost yesterday, but she looked good. Is that terrible to say? I don't know. I'll take it. I don't
No,
care.
no.
She looked great. I hope the other soccer dads heard it. I just said it. She looked good. But anyway, I was talking to the soccer dad about the Cowboys, the Dallas Cowboys, and you know, you think about the fact that they potentially could have had Derrick Henry.
Yes,
I did not pick up right now.
a great pickup.
Some of the other moves they could have made, and yet they're still diddling with contracts over really good players, and they've put themselves in this position. I don't understand it. I do not understand the Dallas Cowboys.
Me neither, man. It's impossible to. I don't even stress over it anymore. For
Did
what?
Baker get a win or did he lose?
No, they ended up losing on the last second field
Oh,
goal. He played had a kind of a crazy play. It was a 4th and 7, and he's got Nick Bosa hanging all over him, and somehow was able to complete a pass for a first down. They went down and were able to tie up the game with not very much left, and they let San Francisco go down the field and get a game-winning field goal.
oh,
Yeah.
listen. Speaking of performances and losses, none of this is Baker's fault. I don't know what else that guy can do. Nobody expects Sterling Shepard to be a number one receiver, and yet against Kansas City, he was, and he looked great. Baker's making completions to everybody he can make them to. Whatever. Sometimes you just don't have the dogs with you. I don't know.
Yeah, you don't have the guys. Yeah,
Isn't Todd Bowles a defensive guy though?
he is. He is, and the defense has not been very good.
Not when it needs to be. Look, you're going to lose to Kansas City. Who'd they lose to? Nick Bosa. Is that the 49ers?
49ers.
Dude, you can't let the 49ers come east and lose to them. Beat up the way they are. Was McCaffrey back at least?
This is his first game back. The final score was 23-20. I think McCaffrey was, let's see. I mean, he didn't do much. 13 carries for 39 yards. 6 catches for 68 yards.
That's pretty good. 10 yards a catch.
But Brock Purdy, 25 of 36, 353 yards and 2 touchdowns. Yeah. Defense not great.
That's a bad loss for my Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
4-6.
Okay, Oklahoma lost. Tampa Bay lost. I guess the Cowboys lost. I'll pile in with you there. My daughter goes 1-1. What is that? 1-4 on the weekend? Yeah. That's bad.
Happens, man. You can have these crazy sports weekends.
Kevin, let's recap this. Let's recap what it was for Oklahoma. It was a bad, humiliating, disgusting loss. I don't think they bounce back. They've got Alabama and LSU. I don't envision a scenario where they win. That takes them to 5-7. On November 10th at 6:30 on a Sunday, does Brent Venables coach a bowl game? Or not a bowl game. It doesn't matter. We ain't going to a bowl game. Is Brent Venables the coach for spring ball in 2025?
Yeah, I don't see you guys firing him. even though I think it might be the best move. I hated the contract extension.
I don't
that
care
you
about
gave
the
him
contract.
before
Everybody
the
talks
season.
about the contract. I don't care about the contract extension.
But you
These
know, you guys,
Oklahoma has money, Kevin. Oklahoma has money. They got
yeah,
Jumpman money. They
Oklahoma
got
football has
SEC
money.
money.
Yes,
They
because
got
here's the
Jumpman
thing.
money, SEC
Yeah, I don't
money.
care. People talk about how the university might be having some financial issues. The football program runs independently of
I
the
don't care about their
university.
buyout. I don't care about
So
the buyout.
yeah, if y'all want a new coach, you get a new coach. I don't know.
This
I feel
isn't.
like you give him another year though.
It's not a Jimbo buyout.
What I
Okay?
want to
It
see
is.
though, here's what I want to see. I'm curious about is if he stays, right? If you retain Brent Venables for next year, what's the composition of the roster going to look like? Is there going to be a mass exodus in the transfer portal, or are the players still 100% bought in? And when I say a mass exodus, I'm talking about starters. I'm not talking about guys who aren't playing. I'm talking about
I worry about
your
the offense.
starters.
I worry about the offense. I worry about
Yeah.
the two quarterbacks. And you know, I worry about Jackson Arnold and Hawkins. Like, it stresses me out.
Yeah,
But at the
we
same
talked about
time,
this earlier in the season, right? You don't
at
want
the
to.
same time, what have they done? What have they done to
Right.
stress me out about it, though? This is, you know,
Yeah, you just don't want to start the. You don't want to go into the spring with no quarterbacks. With any
here's the
experience.
problem. The problem is the schedule. Okay. We knew it was the problem coming in. And you thought to yourself, to your point, you go 500. You go 500 and everybody's feeling a lot better about themselves. 8-4. Whatever.
Yeah.
The schedule's harder next year. It's not easier.
Yeah.
It's hard. You got to host Michigan. You got to go to Tennessee. You got to go to Alabama. Okay. You got to go to South Carolina.
Yeah.
And then you host LSU and you host Ole Miss.
It's tough.
And you still got to play Texas, who's probably coming off a college football playoff appearance, maybe even an SEC championship.
Hopefully for me.
Right? So
Yeah.
the problem is, Kevin, if you only make if you only make incremental improvement, it's going to look as bad. And if it looks as bad, are you then firing him next year when you then have a favorable schedule in 26? If you're going to fire him, it needs to be this. I hate saying this. I love Brent Venables.
Yeah. I know. I get it.
So bad for him to be the man. I got a hat that says Bud, Barry, Bob, and Brent, right? We all love what he's about. He's as good a dude as there is in the sport. But let's talk what we're talking about. He's making $8 million a year to coach at the University of Oklahoma. He's not getting it done. You can't beat Missouri with a backup quarterback. Stop. In year 3, with the defense that we're supposed to be, amazing, which are pretty good.
Yeah, it's been good, but not.
If you're going to let him go this year. Get a coach in here to struggle next year and start building the team for 26 and 27 when you have a manageable schedule in the SEC. Because believe it or not, you'll have a manageable schedule in the SEC.
Yeah, you'll probably get our schedule from this year.
Correct. Your hardest team on the schedule in 2026 is going to be Texas. Well, guess what? You were going to play Texas anyway. And Georgia.
Right.
So,
yeah, going to Tuscaloosa next year, going to South Carolina, going to Tennessee, hosting Auburn, LSU, Ole Miss, and Missouri. That's just in the SEC.
And Texas. Don't forget Texas.
Of course, the Red River Shootout. I'm just talking about,
No, I know.
It's hard.
I'm just saying.
So, of course, the Red River Shootout.
You're playing a potential SEC champion, right? I really do. We look at their, I think you beat A&M. I think A&M's a fraud. Okay. I just don't think they're very good. I think it's Texas versus, either way, you're going to play the SEC champion, I guess, right? Because it's either going to be Tennessee or Texas.
Yeah. Yeah. And Alabama still has a window to get into it as well.
Look, I'm an idiot podcaster. I don't know if you fire the guy or not. I don't know how much these injuries hurt. I don't care. When you got Missouri down by 7 with 2 minutes to go in the game with a backup quarterback, you beat Missouri. I don't care about any of the rest of it. It boils down to that. And although there was a very long list, Kevin, thank you for listening to me, Kevin. You are a good friend.
So friends
And it does
before,
not
listen.
And it does not go unnoticed. You are
A
a good
decade
friend.
of this stuff for Texas fans. So we've been there. Trust me. And we had Sean Watson coordinating our offense while you guys had Lincoln Riley and making the college football playoff while we're going 5-7. So yeah, been there.
I think we still lost you though, didn't we?
Yeah. That year, yeah. But you still made the playoff though. A little fool's gold.
Oh, Charlie Strong. Where's Charlie Strong at these days?
I have no idea. Last I heard, he was an analyst at Alabama, but that was under Saban. So I have absolutely no idea what he's up to.
Was he a Saban guy? He was a Dan Mullen guy, right?
Yeah, he was an Urban Meyer guy.
Urban Meyer, Dan Mullen kind of deal?
Yeah, he was, yeah. Uh-huh. Yeah. So he left Texas, went to South Florida, got fired from there too. So
a lot of people want Dan Mullen for OC.
Interesting.
I think that's
he's not going to recruit. You have to find somebody to recruit because he does not like doing that.
Did he not recruit Dak? Or was Dak already there?
No, I mean he might have recruited him, but I mean it might have been he doesn't like just the process of recruiting, like going all in with stuff. You can see with at Florida.
Yeah, and you add NIL, he probably hates it.
Mm-hmm.
You add NIL, he probably hates it.
Yeah.
Look, here's the thing. Here's the reality. We're Oklahoma. We're recruiting just fine. Our talent level's just fine. Yes, we've been hurt. I get that. It's Missouri with a backup quarterback with 2 minutes to go in the game, and you have a 7-point lead. You win the game.
Yeah. I was just surprised by
my whole 20 minutes boils down to that statement right there. Should have led with that. Kevin, have a great night. Enjoy your team only having one loss and getting to play Kentucky. No, Arkansas. You're going to beat Arkansas. We're going to have a preview. Oklahoma's on a bye week. Thank the good Lord. If anybody needs a bye, it's this guy. We'll talk about Arkansas on Wednesday, preview the rest of the Week 12 college football. Kevin, have a great night. Boomer.
Welcome.